Goodness to you. This is Sporty King coming to you on Wednesday. And I always say goodness because I don't know whether you're watching morning, afternoon, or evening. But isn't it great to put good in front of your day or anytime in your day? So that's why I like to say goodness. So welcome to Glue Wednesday. Now I'm on early if you're on with me live right now and in person. I always like to get on earlier than the message. So I've got less than 3 minutes to go for today's message, but I get on early because I'm basically mostly going through Facebook Live for this broadcast. But I'm also welcoming and happy to say that I'm now doing live on LinkedIn as well, and LinkedIn and YouTube. And I meant to turn that fan off. That's what y'all just busted me. I had to turn the fan off. All right, but but anyway, because everybody has their own personal choice of how they want to do things. So you can get in early and build the audience because they say, I'm coming on live at 1. Well, you may say, yeah, I got to listen to Sporty at 1, but you might be doing something else. Your day is not centered totally around me, okay? And so then oh my God, I forgot to do that. So this gets on live, say, hey, Sporty's getting ready to come on. Also, this is my interactive day. We've got less than 2 minutes for today's message, and I like to do my shout outs today as well. So please, if you're on live, go on and throw your name in the thread, give a shout out so I can click on your name and get you up here on the screen, all right? But if this is your first time or your next time watching Glue Wednesday, you always need to have that great reminder of Glue Wednesday stands for God's love, which undoes everything, okay? God's love, which undoes everything. Let me do something for a second here. I don't mind telling y'all when I'm doing technology things. I just realized that I did some changes, and I want to make sure that the changes are updated and saved just in case we get cut off for some reason and then I can't get back to this. You know that you gotta be very, very, very careful. What we got here? We got thanks. Okay. THANKS, and it's December the 15th. Bam. All right. So I made sure I saved the video to the proper day. Okay. So anyway, we've got less than a minute for today's actual message. But hey, what's going on, Lightning? My boy Lightning is on the case. That's what I'm saying. This is where I can get my shout outs in. And again, happy ongoing, I believe it's 30th anniversary, or is it 31? God bless you, man. That's what you got to do, is keep showing how the family can stay together. We have enough examples and enough media and press about dysfunctional families or broken families. And hey, those of us who are in a broken family, I'm not knocking us. I'm saying, though, we have to remember that we have to give God the praise and the glory for all the types. And this also brings up one of my main messages anyway, is that I always say, we have to look at things from so many different angles. Daniel has been married 31 years. How he sees life is different from how I, who have never been married, my perspective will be different. And so will yours, depending on where your life is coming from. So that's the type of thing that I did a meme this morning on Facebook and LinkedIn, and it just said that after spending time watching how things work in an airport, I know that we can live in peace. Because the key is what you focus on, you ferment. If we would focus on living in peace, we could do it. Because you see all the moving parts it takes to run an airport. And I said, think of some other things, because it's not just an airport, it is a marriage. It is what's going on at your company and your job and in your life. So, we can make things work, but we all coming from different perspectives. And that's why, and like I said, one thing Daniel and I always say is you can't make this stuff up. And a lot of people say that anyway, but you're going to see later on coming on in my broadcast is how important it is to look at things from different perspectives. Let me get a couple more shout outs. My homeboy Vic is there, and Vic says hello to everybody because he knows that we got us a nice little group going on here, right? We got us a family. And then here comes, speaking of family, Roger Carroll. You are so right, because now Roger Carroll will be looking at life through the eyes of a grandmother. She is now less than a month into being a grandmother. And so, so that changes the perspective. And that, that's really what it's all about. Which is, so many times people say, well, we can agree to disagree. Man, that's a very hard thing to do. we can agree to disagree and agree to disagree, but you're going to see also, again, you can't make this stuff up. In my broadcast today, I'm going to be talking about not just perspective, but respect. Because respect is one of the most important ingredients you can use for agreeing to disagree. So thank you, Roger Carroll, for adding that, because I didn't have that as a part of why I think respect is so important. And so now we already have that nice setup of another reason why respect will be important when we come up to it. So back to Glue Wednesday. Let's get us rolling, okay? So, but as my intro said, what you got there, Vic? Congratulations to Roger Carroll, family. Okay, let's get rolling, okay? Before getting on the road to celebrate my Thanksgiving with family in November, and in preparing to create my glue message for that day, I had started out thinking that my message was going to be thanks. THANKS. The heart always needs kindred spirits. Because I was doing that. That was going to be my Thanksgiving message, right? But I was going to choose one or two words per letter to expand upon giving thanks during the Thanksgiving season. However, I kept finding so much more to be thankful for, which with each letter that I came upon, that I decided to stretch thanks out. Imagine that, y'all. We can stretch thanks out through the end of 2021, because I was already 6 weeks out. So I decided to highlight a different letter, each week through 2021. Because we certainly have more to be thankful for than this American celebration. And let me also, again, thank those of you who are watching live on LinkedIn, even if you're watching the broadcast. As you'll see, I always welcome comments in the thread. And so right now, they'll mostly be coming from my Facebook broadcast, and I don't believe you'll be able to see them. You'll be able to see my shout outs. Oh, so you will see some of them. Good. Okay, but I won't be able to get your comments on the LinkedIn thread. So when on the broadcast, please come over and watch it on Facebook. But I'm going to work on getting it as the live where LinkedIn will be the main source for the live comments. So I'm always working on that. But let's take a quick commercial and see what Roger Carroll says. In our disputes, you must be civil and respect the other person's opinion, especially when it is the opposite of your own. We do not know how they arrived at their position. This is what respect is all about. Oh my God, Roger Carroll, you cannot make this up. Thank you. There's something called a confirmation bias, and a confirmation bias is where you look for things to support an argument or your case. And this is one of the things that I'm happy to find, because I want to support why I think respect is so important. So it's always great to have another reason, and I'm going to only click it off right now so that we can continue to see the graphics as they come up in what today's message is all about. So anyway, each week I'm going to use a different letter to highlight, and then I'm going to get the words that I use from that letter into the message. Today's featured letter is going to be the letter N. And so my words that I'm going to make sure I get into my message are noise, now, and needs. Noise, now, and needs. But we're also, let me say, as the preacher say, let me put a title on this sermon. Okay, I shouldn't have said that since I didn't have it written down. But anyway, but what I like to name today's session is giving. All that you need for thanks is giving. Imagine that. So, not necessarily, obviously, but the first thing we must understand when we talk about giving, I'm saying giving is really all you need for thanks. So, not necessarily obviously, but the first thing that we need to understand is that there's a difference between a want and a need. And a need is something that one must have to survive. So water for drinking, food, clothing, shelter to live in. Those are needs that that someone must have to survive. A want, on the other hand, is everything else. A want is everything else, okay? And wants are there to make life a little more enjoyable. So a need is what you must have to survive. A want is everything else. Things that make life a little bit more enjoyable. Something that an individual desires but would be able to live without. Thus, my first word that we're focusing on today and my affirmation is needs. NEEDS. Necessary, emotional, and economical demands of society. And I believe that one of those is that you need to be respected. This, see, Roger Carroll and Lightning, this is, I told you can't make this stuff up. I have respected in there. But here's the deal, because we're talking wants and needs. Well, respect isn't a need. Check this out. The beauty of vocabulary and perspective is context. So think about what Roger Carroll said. If you don't know why someone took the position, you don't know, you can't really determine whether it's a want or a need. Okay, let me not overemphasize and celebrate over something that I saw in my confirmation bias. But this is what I'm saying why respect is a need for me. See, respect can easily be categorized as an everything else thing. You know, it's a thing to make life a little bit more enjoyable. Yeah, I gotta have respect. I don't need it, but I gotta have it. Ooh, now imagine saying that. I don't need respect. See, even saying it puts us in a different position. So since it can be easily looked at as an everything else category, I have to quickly bring my N for the word noise into this conversation, because noise, which cannot be instantly categorized as bad or good, you can't just decide that noise is bad or good, because I'm equating noise to what you hear can depend on upon what or who you listen to. What you hear can depend upon what or who you listen to. That's the noise. That's the noise, right? See, and you know one of my favorites, choose your messengers carefully. They become your noise or they become your nurture. You will turn them off or you will let them annoy or enrich you. So think about it. That's what I'm saying about your noise. Who are you listening to? What are you listening to? And who are you listening to? Because based on how you feel about that what or who will make you either say, that's noise, I'm turning it off. Or you say, that's nurturing and I'm turning it up because this is something that I need or want. And that's that respect that I'm talking about coming from my perspective. You see, you will make a choice based on who you know yourself to be. As we continue on through this stress-filled life, because we got a lot of stress, one thing we must know about ourselves is we must know our anger triggers. So as Roger Carroll's definition, let's go back to that for a second, and that your disputes might be civil or respect other person's opinion, especially when it is the opposite of your own. We do not know how they arrived at their opinion. So therefore, you have to know your anger triggers so that you can have this proper definition of what agreeing to disagree is going to mean. See why I was happy to see you have that up there, Roger Carroll? You have to know your anger triggers. If you do know one of them, please put it in the thread right now. If you know one of your anger triggers, go on and put it in. I'm going to keep going as you put those in. And you know I'll come back to them because I love to see different anger triggers. But I want to let you know that one of my anger triggers is respect. Again, you can't make this up. I thank y'all for bringing respect into our message early. Respect is one of my anger triggers. And that takes us back to perspective. And my affirmation of needs, necessary, emotional, and the economic demands of society. See, I found that respect is a necessary and emotional, economical demand of society is being respected for me. When someone disrespects me, and here I go, Roger Carroll, this is where I'm coming from. When someone disrespects me, I am insulted, and I admit that I have somewhat of a feeling of regressing back to my childhood. You see, my mother and father were the only people I could ever accept speaking to me as if I'm not an equal. And I say I say it past tense, but I'm talking about it present tense. My mother and father are the only people that I could ever accept speaking to me as if I'm not an equal. As children, we are taught to respect our elders, have a respectful tone when speaking to people, respect other people's feelings. Respect is a valuable commodity in my spirit. And because I learned it, I give it. When I don't receive it, I lose it. And that can be looked at in two different ways. It can be expressed in two ways. One, I do not gain respect if I do not gain it. I'm not talking about I lose it. I do not gain respect, or my temper becomes a lot harder to control. See, that's something that I know about me. Respect is an anger trigger for me. Let's see what some of your anger triggers are. First, we got to say hello to Figgy, one of my Laughter Association cohort partners. People talking when I'm trying to present. Good. That's interesting, Figgy. I'm gonna throw perspective in there on you. Okay, as a speaker, I do not feel disrespect. But of course, Figgy, you got a sentence there. We got to look at there's going to be a whole lot more perspective to that. But let's just look at that as one sentence. You see, if someone's talking while I'm presenting, I don't decide that they're speaking to not hear me. I believe, because I have a presenter's arrogance, I also call it charisma, that they are now speaking based on something that I said. It sparked a memory, and so they had to turn to someone and say, you know what? Again, context, Figgy. It depends on you. I think you are so right that if I'm speaking and someone's trying to out-talk me or disrupt it, that's different. But so that perspective is going to be real important. When you say that they're talking when I'm trying to present, it depends. Because I also say, as with this thread, where I say put your anger triggers in the thread, that's you talking while I'm presenting. What about as you're doing audience interaction? And this is, again, this is a great chance for a lesson for anybody when you have to do public speaking or of any kind, public or professional. We talk about wanting to get the audience interaction, but if you don't allow your audience to enjoy you, you will not get audience interaction. So if you decide to be insulted by someone speaking while you're speaking and you do something to cut them off, and again, in a case where they were actually wonderfully agreeing with you and saying to someone, see, I told you that made a difference. Remember when you were saying such and such to somebody, maybe you could have looked at that differently. They may be extending your point, but when you cut them off, now people are, well, let me not say nothing. Perspective. Thank you, Figgy, because it's all about perspective. And respect is something that we have to let it work ourselves through. If someone's looking at their cell phone, a lot of people say, well, when I'm speaking and they're looking at their cell phone. Again, my attitude, if I'm speaking and they're looking at their cell phone, I believe that they're looking at their cell phone and they're posting on some other social media. This guy is knocking it out the park. Y'all should be here. Quick, here's the link. Come on in and listen. That's the way I look at it. And come on, y'all. People don't have pen and paper anymore. Some people could be taking notes about what you're saying on their iPad or on their iPhone. Do not let someone throw your presentation off. God has sent you to deliver this message. My respect and my humbleness, my humility is to God, not man. So therefore, I am so focused on my delivery that sometimes, that's why respect is also perspective, because sometimes I don't see how you're disrespecting me. That's why it's such an anger trigger for me when someone uses a tone that demeans me or does not speak to me as I'm an equal. Okay? But anyway, thank you, Figgy, for getting us off on that. Oh, and you know what? And then bless you. I hear you. Because again, I know Figgy's spirit. And I know how much charisma he has when he's speaking. So I'm hearing what he's saying, but y'all don't know Figgy. And so we can't let that statement stand as this is what disrespect is. We have to go into the context of the individual and the audience, and then we put it all together. And this is why we go back to everything we've said so far, and that is agreeing to disagree, understanding where someone else is coming from, knowing everyone is coming from someplace else. What you got there, Vic? People assuming how I feel about a subject. Okay, and there's one of his anger triggers. I shouldn't have switched that fast, but let's switch that and keep on moving, because that could also be part of what's going on in a presentation. If you know, when a speaker says, I know how y'all feel, one thing I never say, and you know that I don't like to use the absolutes, always and never, but one thing I never say, I've never said this in my life, and I'm not knocking speakers who say it. I want you to think about it as if you're a speaker who says it. I have never said I've been in your shoes. Never said it. What I say is, I may not have been in your shoes, but I've sat in your row, because we're all going through something. See, I don't know how you feel, and that's what I'm saying, Vic. I don't know how you feel about a certain subject, so I'm not going to tell you how you feel. I'm going to offer you my opinion and find out how you feel if you choose to share it with the group. And again, flip that back to Figgy. That could be somebody saying, yeah, you know what? I feel this way. Yeah, he said that. You never know. God, perspective is a wonderful thing. Let me bring some perspective in from the West Coast. Marva, I call her Marvelous Marva. What's going on, Marva? That's an interesting perspective, because I get distracted when others start talking while I'm speaking. Yeah, I believe as a speaker, your job is to get other people to start talking. Your job is not to sit there and have people quiet like they're in a first grade class where shut up, the teacher's talking. Your job is to get people talking. And so therefore, as you're saying something, you're sparking a memory. Your job is to take them on a trip. When I used to go into high schools, and even if I still do it today, whenever I volunteer to go do one, I always say, look, we got a rule. And in fact, Marvin, you didn't get to stay on, but you remember when I did your group a couple of weeks ago, I said to them, take we were on Zoom. I said, take your Zoom off of mute. See, everybody's got the Zoom etiquette of put it on mute when somebody's speaking. And I said to them, here's my rule. Take it off of mute, because I want to hear you say amen. I want to hear you laugh. I want to hear you say, that's a good one. I want to hear that. And once I did that, you should have seen it took a while. People had to get used to it. I said, no, go on, take it off mute. Once they saw that I meant that, and a couple of their cohorts, interrupted, as people were calling, and said, yeah, that's a good point. Then they said, yeah, because that's what we were doing. So that's what when I used to, so the point when I went into the high schools, I would say to the teenagers, I said, look, let's get my rule straight. I said, first of all, I want you to know that I'm going to say some things that are going to take you on a trip. Because I may say something funny that you want to go away and laugh, or make you think about something. I said, I call that going away. I don't mind if you go away. What I ask is that you come back. I said, so we're going to have a good laugh, maybe based on something I say, or a comment I get from one of you, and feel free to comment as I speak. And this is what I'm telling. They're sitting there listening. I said, so feel free to make your comments as I speak, and then we'll all go away and have a good laugh. I said, but when I think it's time for the laugh to be over, I'll ask you to come on back. And all I'll say is, come on back. And do you know what? After a while, we went on those trips. And then I'd say, come on back. And then the rest of the students start saying to their students, to their classmates, come on back, come on back. That's your job, to me, as a presenter, is to send people away and let them come on back. Because it is not about you. It is not about me as a speaker. I am there to deliver my message. And my message is to be delivered to help you see you in the message. Because I'm giving it to you from what? A perspective of a single black man, no kids, in my 60s, never been married. You could just, an uncle, all of those things that you can add up, and that's your perspective. And therefore, when you are giving advice, when you are sharing who you are, that's the perspective you're coming from. And you should not, I believe, you should not expect that everyone else is going to be on track with you. And I go in thinking that way, and I love to know that they're not agreeing with me. Thank you. All right. Woo. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. And again, Figgy, I'm going to throw I hear you in there once again. And what you got here, Daphne? Oh, no, I'm late. Greeting. You are not late. You are worthy. And again, believe me, I'm not off the topic, y'all. But see, this is what I'm saying about how comments can feed you. As a speaker, I've got something prepared. And I prepared it because we have a time set. Some people say, well, why are you reading your thing? Because I have a time restriction based on this message. And I want to make sure that you get this meat. But as I get stuff from the audience, I see that this is something that we need to share right now, because there's always the message inside the message. And so when I see someone say they're late based on the way I look at late, I don't believe in late. You know, everybody likes to say, well, you know, time is relative. You know, God has this and that. Well, how about living that? You know, so you are never late. You are there for what you need to hear. That's, you know, you get there when it's time for you to get there. Sometimes, think about it. Have you ever rushed to get somewhere, and as you're rushing, let's say you're driving, you pass a car accident? Do you know that means that maybe if you had been 5 minutes earlier on time as you think, you could have been in that accident? That's the way I look at the car accidents. And I would say 7 out of 10 times that I feel that I have been rushed, it's because, and then I end up going past an accident, and I say, thank you, God, I was not on time, because I could have been in that accident. And that's really my past, because I don't rush anymore. I know that I'm going to get where I need to get safely. And I've already put it into my day that I'm going to leave at a time that's going to get me there. So therefore, if something comes up, when things come up to make you quote unquote late, well, all it means is that you've shifted your priorities. So now what you have to do is say, what was it that changed how important I saw this other thing to be? Because if I know I have to be here at 1 o'clock, then that changes what time I get up. That changes what calls I accept. That's all it is. It's about you. It's the choices that we make. And there's again why I say I learn to give respect. And that's how I give respect. I give respect to who I'm dealing with, and I therefore expect to get respect. And if I don't get it, temper, I lose it. Okay, Roger Carr, I love that, because I need more audience energy on Zoom. Yeah, and a good thing to do with Zoom is tell people how to use their reaction buttons. Tell them, look, get ready to use your reactions. Tell them, go and click on your reactions right now, because I'm going to want you to click on a heart if you agree with this comment. I'm going to want you to click on a wave or a thumbs up. Tell them how to be reactive. And don't worry that you don't get 100%. That's not the goal. The preacher at the end of any sermon, they say the doors of the church are open. Is there one? They don't say, y'all know what I just said makes a difference. Get your behind up here. No, they say the doors of the church are open. Is there one? Even while they're doing their sermon, they say, I know I'm speaking to someone. Come on, y'all. These are all the things that are in our everyday lives and conversations. And these are the types of things that can become, what did I say? Noise or nurture. Are we turning them off or turning them up? Turn up what you say, because everything that you say and deliver and share is making a difference for somebody. You're not here to make a difference for everybody. You're here to make a difference for somebody. So make sure that you're turning it up, because what you say makes a whole difference in your life. So I'm glad that's going to help you, Roger Carroll. And again, you know, if you need more, let me know. Daphne, you are so right. I took my glasses off, so you know I can't hardly read. You are so right again. Yes. And you know why I'm right? Because I don't have to be right. I have to be sporty. That's my belief. I don't have to be right. I have to be sporty. I have to share, and you can't make this up. It's coming up in the message, y'all, so I'm going to move on in a minute. But I'm going to tell you where it's coming up, Daphne, because I might not get to scroll back to this. You don't have to be right. You have to be sporty. That's what I say. And so my question to you is going to be, what do you take a stand on? See, I take a stand on being me. And I'm willing to say, here's what I believe in. I take that stand. To me, that's part of respect. I take a stand. This is what Sporty thinks. I don't have to. You don't agree with me? What did Roger Carroll say? We don't have to agree. We have to agree to disagree by respecting one another's opinion and where they're coming from. It all comes together. It all comes together. And one makes a difference. How about being that one? All of us are called to be the one. And again, it's coming up in the message. I'm going to move on because y'all make it seem like I checked with y'all before I wrote these things. So listen to how smoothly what you've just shared to me goes into the message, okay? So I've already said to you, I learn and I give respect, and when I don't receive it, I lose it. I know that that's something that I know about me. So if I don't feel respected, I don't feel thanked, and I don't give thanks, which is our message today, is that giving is all you need to give thanks. All you need for thanks is that you give. And see, if I don't feel respected, I don't feel thanked, and therefore I can't give it. If I don't feel respected, then I don't feel that I'm being thanked, and then I have no thanks to give. So more importantly, I also believe in personal responsibility. When I started my business, I created my 3 base beliefs to measure my consistency and path. So relevant of my 3 base beliefs to today's message is what I call Sportism number 1. Give. Sooner or later, you catch up to what you've received. Most people say, give and you shall receive. No, give. Sooner or later, you'll catch up to what you've received. See, that's my premise, is that you actually can't be thankful until you have given. Yep, I've made giving a need. I believe that if I didn't give wholly of myself, I'll only receive remnants from others. And to put that in its deeper meaning, if I don't have my share of life, if I don't share my gift of life, I'm not sharing God's love that this broadcast is named for. This is glue. God's love undoes everything. So if I'm not sharing God's love, which is a gift to me, then I'm not believing that God's love undoes everything. And I sure can't wait to check the broadcast and see. I see some laughs up there, so I don't even know what y'all were laughing at because of the time delay in the posts versus coming into the live. So thank you, and I'm glad to bring that laughter in. See, so we've got people who click like, we got people who click love, we got people who click laugh. Boom! You will never have a homogeneous audience. You will have different things will mean different things to different people. So let me go back and see what we got. Roger Carroll said, I agree that I will stand firm on my beliefs. Ooh, again, I got it coming up. Hold that thought, Roger Carroll. And then look at that. What you say. Sounded like Flip Wilson. What you say. Maybe that's where, and drawing the air. Because it's not also what you say, it's what people hear. And so what are you hearing? That's the most, I said what people hear, but what are you hearing? Because that's going to make a difference. Watch out when we come to that, y'all. Daniel Lighton, I love it, Sporty. We will never catch up to what we received, but it's such a blessing. And see, Daniel, we call him Lightning. He's one of my spiritual brothers that I meet with on a regular basis. And we do a broadcast on Marco Polo and just share gifts that God has placed into our lives. And he knows, what God has given you, you will never catch up. You know, everybody loves that saying, you can't beat God giving. See, there's another one of those things we hear, but can we listen to it and believe it? You can't beat God. You can't beat God giving, okay? Give your best, right? That's on Mondays, I have my the Monday morning moment, and I say it's to help us on our path to excellence. And that's why Daphne said, you have to give your best. See, practice makes perfect, I believe, is a cliche that sets us up for failure. What? Yes, because there's no sooner do we say practice makes perfect than we follow up with, but nobody's perfect. So therefore, the goal is to fail and then ask someone else for their admiration of how hard we tried. Hey, I didn't make perfect, but look how far I got. See, so the goal is, I knew I wasn't going to make perfect, but look where I got. The goal was never to make perfect. We said practice makes perfect, but nobody's perfect. So you need to accept me for where I'm here. How about making where I am the goal? So that not only will you be accepted, you will be rejuvenated and refreshed and appreciated. And you will be thankful of how this person is appreciating you. Don't stop me. I'm loving y'all. That's why I say you can't make this stuff up. And this is also where I'm saying, if possible, this is why you bring people into your program. And I never worry about getting through all my slides. I never do. It depends on what's in the slide. But if something has already said, like I've already told you that respect was coming, y'all saw it coming. I told you that taking a stand is coming. It's getting ready to come. Also, Figgy said, keep the love coming. Amen. That's what we got to talk about. And what, Vic? That's how I'm handling it now, with patience. Boom. That's what it's got to be all about. We got to have the patience to keep it moving. So, and look at that. Boom. Patience? Are you taking a strong stand for what you believe in? See what I'm saying? Roger Carroll threw it in there. I stand for what I believe in. Vic is saying, are you being patient? Right. Here's Roger Carroll. I agree that I stand for my belief. And that's my question to you. Are you taking a strong stand for what you believe in? That is so important. And are you also, are you being turned off? Are you being turned up based on what you believe in and the stand that you take? Because just as I say, choose your messengers carefully, I add and recognize you are carefully being chosen as a messenger. So are you being turned off? Or you being turned up when you stand for what it is that you stand for. And I also ask, is your giving obviously only because you want to be thanked? See, people can tell whether you're giving out of a good spirit because you want to give, or they can tell if you're giving because you want reciprocity. You want to be thanked. You see why I say giving is all you need for thanks? Give, and you'll be thanked. Give. Sooner or later, you'll catch up to what you've received. Don't give because you want to be thanked. People can see through that, and it hurts. So that's why I'll now move you to my final word, which is now. N-O-W. Never over worry. Worrying about this moment can actually be enough. Now, you won't find over worry in the dictionary. I told you that's why I love the English language. We can play with it. You will not find over worry in the dictionary. So you have to put it in context right here to mean worrying about this moment will actually be enough. And those of you who follow me on my Friday broadcast, which is called Gift Friday, and gift is G-I-F-T, God is for today. Because so many people say T-G-I-F-T. I say, T-G-I-T. God is, gift, G-I-F-T. God is for today. But also T-G-I-T. Not God, not thank God it's Friday, but thank God for today. And then T-G-I-T, thank God for tonight. Because that's what we need to be thanking God for every day. And it's attached to the lesson that I learned from Matthew 6:34. It says, so don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will bring its own worries. Thank God for tonight. And it says, today's trouble is enough for today. Thank God for today. T-G-I-T. Thank God for today and thank God for tonight. You see, thanks is about now. What are you thankful for today? What are you thankful for today? Who are you thankful for? Why are you thankful? Where are you thankful? How are you thankful? When are you thankful? And y'all can fill the thread up with those. That'll be something good for people to read as they're looking at the broadcast on the videotape. Okay, but I save when for last because it is the now moment. When are you thankful? Now. When is a now moment? You have to be thankful for this moment. You can be thankful for what you've received. You can be thankful for what you may receive, but you got to be thankful for this moment because this moment is the present as well as the future. You know, my joke is always that nobody ever makes it to the future. Every time you get there, it's the present. So be thankful in the moment, and that's the when you have to be thankful. Give thanks for this moment. Enjoy how it adds to your life through the love that matters. And that's the glue. God's love, which undoes everything. It truly does. So as I close out, I've decided that I'm always, for this thanks series, that I'm going to remind everyone to continue your safe and festive celebration, regardless of the holiday season. Yet do not restrict your thanks to this weekend or any weekend to come, especially since Christmas and New Year on Saturday. Do not restrict your celebration to a weekend. Instead, I want you to commit your spirit to constantly seek things and reasons to be thankful. Constantly commit your spirit to constantly seek things and reasons to be thankful. Because one thing we have to remember is GLUE, God's love undoes everything. We don't have to hump on Wednesday. We need to keep it together. So let Wednesday be that day that helps you keep the weekend and the week beginning together. And put you in that prayerful mode that says glue. God's love undoes everything. Thanks for listening. And also, thanks for wearing your mask, which is something that I'm a big proponent of. So I appreciate you. God bless you. Let me see that. Get that last thing in there that Victor said. Oh, okay. Well, just before Victor. Oh, Victoria. Hey, what's up, Victoria? Coming in from Chicago. Great information. And it depends on who's sharing it and how it's being received. Because I think all of us have great information, but are you the messenger? And there's nothing wrong when sometimes you have to listen to someone to decide that they're not your messenger. This is about you. Personal responsibility is always about you. Thankful for being retired and not having to deal with this world. And not having to deal with this world so much. When in fact, you have to deal with the world more because you're retired. Because now you have a different category that you have to fulfill. And that's a whole nother broadcast. But I had to throw that in there because I like that. Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff that you don't have to deal with. The world, but there's a lot, you know what? That's not mine. That's not my problem. I'm moving on. Like I said, that's not my job. And that's you got to let stuff go. I thank you for that, Vic. Yeah, I'm retired and I'm not having to deal with a lot of stuff too. So I'm just kidding with you. And then what you say, Daphne, always and always a wonderful Wednesday here. I am thankful for our glue time and for us finding ways to keep it together. Thank you, Daphne. God bless everybody as you're watching the broadcast. Stay safe and stay savvy. And we'll see you next week on Glue Wednesday with Sporty King. Over and out. Ciao. And you know what? Because it's new, I want to say again, thank you for those who are viewing on LinkedIn and YouTube. I'm always working on technology. So I'm going to work. I've already decided, I ain't going to tell you the full secret. I've already decided that right now I do 3 live broadcasts a week, 3 messages a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I'm going to figure out how to either make LinkedIn the primary source of the live broadcast. I'm going to figure that out, and then which one and maybe how I'm going to alternate it. This is all the planning that we have to be involved in, y'all. And so, sometimes minimize things and recognize that without you, so many of them wouldn't happen. Again, thanks you and God bless. And I will see you next week or next time. Over now. Ciao.